Divine revelation from your future self. 3 miraculous truths to transform your life now. In the stillness of a rural town, shadows danced like whispers around Sarah as she knelt alone in the chapel. Flickering candlelight cast a golden glow upon the worn wooden pews, filling the air with the familiar scent of aged wood. Her heart felt heavy, burdened by worries that seemed to engulf her with every breath. With a fervent spirit, she implored God for guidance, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Help me through this storm," she cried out to the heavens. A sudden warmth enveloped her, igniting a flicker of hope within her. It was then, in the transformative quiet, that she found herself swept into a vivid dream. Time melted away, and she was before a figure that felt like her, yet profoundly different. This was her future self, radiating wisdom and serenity. "My dear Sarah," the figure spoke, her voice soft yet commanding. "I bring you 3 miraculous truths, truths that can change your life." The chapel shimmered around them, as if the very walls were alive with divine presence. First, the power of persistent prayer is unmatched. Your prayers are not just words, they are lifelines to heaven. Sarah felt an electric surge of understanding wash over her. The scene shifted, and they were surrounded by a community of people, each heart echoing vibrantly with connection. Second, your community is your strength. Lean on them, for together you can weather any storm. Faces of her neighbors danced in her mind, each one a beacon of light guiding her through darkness. Finally, her future self said, "Embrace radical forgiveness. It liberates your spirit and opens doors you never knew existed." With each revelation, Sarah's heart began to swell with hope, igniting a fire within that she had long thought extinguished. Before she could respond, she awoke to dawn breaking through the chapel windows. The dream was vivid, pulsing with life. Inspired, Sarah envisioned a family prayer night, gathering friends and neighbors to share in her newfound revelations. However, when she shared her vision, doubt crept in. Some in her community shook their heads, skepticism evident in their voices. "Dreams can be deceptive," they murmured. "How can we rely on visions?" The doubt felt like ice in her veins, and yet, deep down, the whispers of hope remained. Then, a new blow struck. Her daughter fell gravely ill, plunging Sarah into despair. Panic gripped her as she recalled the truths given to her in that dream. Instead of withdrawing, she decided to reach out to her community. The fear of isolation became a distant memory as courage filled her heart. "Please, gather with me for prayer," she implored, each word tinged with urgency. As families arrived, a palpable energy coursed through the room. They lit candles and clasped hands, a tapestry of hope woven tightly together. The air thickened with prayers lifted in unison. "Forgiveness," Sarah implored, encouraging those gathered, "let's it flow. We must release burdens to embrace healing." An electrifying peace descended upon them, hearts quietly mending amidst the storm. Just when hope seemed dimmest, Sarah noticed her daughter stirring, a glimmer of recovery emerging. Gasps filled the room as joy ignited their spirits. This miracle, born from faith and unity, transformed their community, binding them closer than ever before. Yet as Sarah basked in this divine unity, a question lingered in her heart. What will it truly take to harness these miraculous truths as the challenges of life continued to unfold? The shadows loomed large, beckoning her to seek deeper answers in the chapters yet to come. With each passing day, the warmth of the community's prayers lingered in Sarah's heart, feeding the flickering flame of hope. Yet, doubts still whispered in the corners of her mind. What if this miracle was temporary? What if tomorrow brought more shadows? Despite the joy of her daughter's recovery, uncertainties loomed larger than the golden rays of the sun that spilled into her small home. One evening, Sarah sat at the kitchen table, gazing at her daughter as she laughed with her friends, blissfully unaware of her frailty just days before. It was a beautiful sight, but as laughter filled the air, the shadows inside her grew louder. She longed for the strength to navigate this fragile life with grace. "Mommy, will we have prayer night again?" Her daughter's voice chimed sweetly, pulling Sarah from her thoughts. "Yes, my love," Sarah replied, cherishing the simple joy in her heart. We'll gather everyone again. We must share our light. That night, beneath a canopy of stars, the familiar faces gathered once more in the chapel. Candles flickered like fireflies against the deep blue sky. The hushed murmurs of love and prayer floated through the air, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. Feeling a surge of inspiration, Sarah stood before them, her heart pounding with meaning. God has given us the gift of connection, she spoke, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. We stood together in the dark before, but look at how he has delivered us into the light. Tonight, we celebrate faith in prayer, faith in each other, and faith in forgiveness. As each member shared their stories, Sarah could see the healing begin anew not only for her daughter, but for all present. Words of gratitude spilled forth, prayers turned into harmonies of hope, and the very walls of the chapel vibrated with joy. Yet, amid the celebration, Sarah noticed an elderly woman standing alone at the back. Her eyes brimmed with tears, shadowed by pain. Sarah felt a tug within her spirit. She approached the woman, gently clasping her hand. "What's weighing on your heart?" she asked softly. The woman hesitated, her voice barely a whisper. "I lost my husband last winter. This sorrow feels endless." Sarah inhaled deeply, recalling the truth of radical forgiveness her future self had shared. "What if we prayed for peace together? Let us release that burden. You don't have to carry it alone." The woman's eyes met Sarah's, searching for comfort. "Will he listen?" "If we speak from our hearts, he will always listen," Sarah encouraged. "Let us lay it before him tonight." In that moment, Sarah understood the essence of the divine revelations. They weren't merely truths to hold, but bridges to healing. As they knelt together, other hearts joined, building a chorus of supplication to the heavens. Suddenly, an unexpected stillness blanketed the chapel. The wind hushed, the candles flickered gently, and a luminous presence enveloped them. Each soul felt it an overwhelming peace, a divine love pouring through the cracks of their lives, knitting them closer together. Yet, just as Sarah began to grasp the fullness of these divine truths, a sudden eruption of fear gripped her. A voice within whispered, "What if this peace vanishes too soon?" As the gathering continued, she realized her heart still wrestled against the unknown. The journey of faith required not only belief but boldness. Would she step into the fullness of this grace, or would fear hold her back? With anticipation building in her spirit, she knew one thing: the answers she sought would not come without deeper surrender. And with that surrender would emerge a remarkable transformation beyond what she could fathom. What awaited her on this path of faith, and what new revelations would God unveil as the world spun on? The night air was crisp, filled with anticipation. Sarah stepped outside the chapel, her heart still resonating with the sacred energy shared within. The stars glimmered above, illuminating not just the sky, but the very depths of her spirit. It was as though each twinkle echoed her prayers, reaching back to her with reminders of hope. As she walked home, she felt the soft breeze on her face and the whisper of the leaves in the trees around her. Nature felt alive, animated by her newfound awareness of divine presence. She realized that fear, though it swirled around her, could not extinguish the light that prayer ignited. "God," she murmured, her voice trembling slightly, "help me to trust in this moment. Help me to let go of what I cannot control." The shadows that had clung to her heart began to recede. Instead of feeling heavy, her soul felt lighter, as if the very act of surrender had lifted the weight she didn't even know she was carrying. A gentle warmth enveloped her, almost like a hug from God himself. As she entered her home, the vibrant laughter of her daughter emerged from the living room, wrapping Sarah in a sweet embrace of normalcy. It was both comforting and grounding. She found her daughter's bright smile, illuminated by the soft glow of the lamp. "Mommy, can you tell me a story?" her daughter asked, eyes shining with innocent eagerness. Sarah settled beside her on the couch, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her daughter's ear. "Of course, love. Let us talk about the beauty of courage." She shared tales from the scriptures, stories of faith and bravery, speaking of David confronting Goliath and Esther stepping forward to save her people. As she spoke, she suddenly felt a connection between those ancient stories and her own life. Each act of bravery was etched in the history of faith, affirming that every believer carries the potential to inspire miracles, the same miracles she now yearned for. You know, she whispered, sometimes we feel afraid, just like they did. But when we trust God and walk in faith, He meets us with strength. Her daughter nodded slowly, absorbing the wisdom tucked inside those stories. And in that moment, Sarah realized how powerful this exchange was. It wasn't just her daughter who needed to hear the stories, it was she herself who was being reminded of God's promises. After tucking her daughter into bed and planting a gentle kiss on her forehead, Sarah stood in the doorway, watching her sleep. A sense of purpose surged within her. What if sharing these moments could heal the hearts of the weary in their community? The next prayer night grew clear in her mind, infused with a deeper calling. They need to hear about healing, about courage, just as much as I do, she thought, the thrill of divine possibility racing through her veins, and yet a lingering question tugged at her. Would she be brave enough to lead this new endeavor? Every heart in that chapel carried burdens, and she could be a vessel of encouragement. As she entered her quiet room, she clutched her Bible, seeking solace in the sacred words. But a fresh uncertainty bubbled to the surface. What if sharing her struggle with others opened a door to greater vulnerability? God, she breathed, show me the way. The room shimmered with the promise of revelation, and she felt a divine nudging toward greater understanding. Was this the type of courage she was meant to embrace? What awaited her on the other side of this commitment? The answers simmered on the cusp of her heart, suggesting that the journey ahead would require not only the strength to lead, but also the grace to be led. What would she discover about herself and her faith as she stepped into this new calling? And what miraculous truths would begin to unfold as she surrendered to His guiding light? The morning sun crept through the curtains, casting golden rays across her bedroom. Sarah stirred, feeling the promise of a new day. The thoughts from the night before were still fresh in her mind, hovering just beneath her surface like a gentle breeze. She rose with intention, her heart racing at the thought of prayer night. As she prepared breakfast, the scent of fresh coffee filled the air, mingling with the sounds of her daughter's cheerful chatter. The simplicity of these moments ignited an inner fire within her, reminding Sarah that the journey of faith begins in the ordinary. Mommy, are we going to talk about courage again today? Her daughter asked, eyes wide with excitement as she plopped down at the table. Yes, my love, Sarah replied, feeling a warmth spread through her. And maybe some stories about healing. The word healing hung in the air between them, nourishing Sarah's spirit. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but something monumental was about to unfold, both within and around her. After breakfast, Sarah steeled herself for the chapel. As she walked toward the red brick building, she recalled snippets of conversations shared with fellow congregants over the past few weeks. Fragments of stories filled her mind, struggles with illness, heartaches of loss, and the painful realities of loneliness. Stepping inside, the familiar scent of polished wood and incense greeted her. The warmth from the sun outside drifted in, wrapping around her like a gentle embrace. One by one, familiar faces gathered, each carrying their burdens quietly, yet visibly. Sarah took a deep breath, standing by the altar. She wondered if the first step was simply to share her own struggle. It hit her at once, with vulnerability comes strength. Her trembling hands gently brushed over her Bible, as if God's presence was guiding her fingers to just the right passage. In that instant, she felt an overwhelming sense of peace wash over her. What if, she murmured softly to herself, bravery isn't the absence of fear, but the courage to face it. When the congregation began to assemble, Sarah's heart raced. She could see eyes filled with uncertainty, but also an unspoken longing for connection. Tentatively, she addressed the group, her voice wavering at first, but gathering strength with every word. I want to talk about courage today, she began. The room felt charged, almost electric. Courage is more than just facing fears, it's the act of sharing our burdens, the choice to heal together. As she spoke, she paused to look into the eyes of those gathered, seeking to extend the very hope she had found in her own moments of vulnerability. With every soulful story shared echoes of grief, whispers of doubt, each heart cracked open a little more. In the circle of faith, they were no longer isolated. They were woven together in a tapestry of love and understanding. Sarah noticed a woman at the back, her face stained with tears. With the Holy Spirit swirling in the room, Sarah felt nudged to share her own struggles. I, too, have faced the shadows I have promised to trust when it felt impossible. Gasps filled the air. This was not just her moment, it was theirs too. Hope vibrated through hearts that had felt so lonely. Let us pray together, she urged softly. The sound of amens flowed like a river of shared faith, crashing against the shores of doubt. As they prayed, Sarah felt a surge of healing wash over the room, an exchange of burdens lightening their spirits. In that sacred moment, she understood the transformative power of vulnerability, the very essence of connection through shared faith. But amidst this blossoming unity, a new thought arose in her heart. What if they could go deeper? Learn more? Open their hearts to even greater healing? God, she whispered, is there more to discover together? What miraculous truth awaits us in our journey? In that yearning, she sensed a divine invitation, echoing deep within. A seed of possibility sprouted, hinting at what was to come. What treasure lay ahead if they dared to embrace the fullness of their faith together? And so, she prayed, embarking on a path illuminated by collective strength, each step leading to deeper truths yet unknown. As the prayers settled into quiet whispers and the room felt heavy with a holy presence, Sarah's heart began to surge. She felt connected to everyone around her, a bond woven with threads of shared stories and silent struggles. It was the kind of connection that defied words, wrapping around them like a comforting shawl, a reminder that they were not alone. In that moment, an image flickered in her mind, a vast field, vibrant with wildflowers under a limitless blue sky. The vision felt alive, as if God was showing her a glimpse of what awaited them. If we cultivate this faith, what beauty might bloom? She pondered inwardly. The woman with tears at the back was stirring. Her name was Martha, and Sarah had often admired her gentle spirit. As they locked eyes, Martha spoke, her voice trembling yet firm. I've been carrying heavy burdens for years, always so afraid to share, in fear that my struggles might weigh others down. A hush fell over the room. Sarah could feel the weight of Martha's honesty echoing in her own heart. Sister, that's exactly what we're here for, Sarah replied, a smile breaking through the seriousness. By sharing our burdens, we lift one another. You may find that your fears are not as heavy when held by community. Martha wiped her tears and took a deep breath. You're right. Only in our togetherness can we find healing. I want to share. The words tumbled forth like a river bursting through a dam, washing away the reluctance that had kept her silent for so long. As Martha shared her story of heartbreak, how she lost her husband to illness and feared she would never feel joy again, the atmosphere thickened with empathy. Each listener leaned closer, their hearts resonating with her sorrow. Understanding brewed in the shared silence. Encouraged by Martha's courage, others began to share their own stories, loss, doubts, regrets, each one adding to the sacred fabric they were weaving together. Sarah felt the Spirit moving among them, like gentle zephyrs of grace. One by one, the congregation released their burdens and, in the process, transformed pain into purpose. When the last story concluded, a sense of calm settled over the group. Let us pray again, Sarah suggested, noticing the deep breaths circulating through the room. They joined hands, forming a circle, a physical symbol of unity. As they prayed, a quiet strength enveloped them all. Each prayer took on a different tone, morphing into an unbroken chorus of hope. Suddenly, Sarah felt a stirring deep within her, a whisper urging her to ask for something bold. God, awaken the dreams in each of us. Reveal paths we've never dared to consider. With that proclamation, a soft light began to fill the chapel, dancing around them like a joyful spirit alive with promise. Was this what she had sensed earlier? The possibility that faith could grow and blossom into something even more magnificent? As they finished, smiles broke out among the group, radiating a shared glow that was unmistakable. They had inadvertently tapped into a well of hope, unfurling like the petals of a flower reaching toward the sun. But amidst this surge of encouragement, a new question lingered in Sarah's heart. What dreams lay dormant, waiting for the brave souls to uncover them? Lord, she whispered, what transformational truths are yet to be revealed? How can we deepen this journey together? The room, now vibrant with collective energy, seemed to hum with divine anticipation. There was more to come, more healing, more sharing, and an unfolding of mysteries that beckoned from beyond the chapel walls. As they began to disperse, Sarah felt the gentle nudge of the Spirit again. Could this be the beginning of not just a moment, but a movement? What awaited them on this uncharted path? As the congregation began to hum with quiet conversations and soft laughter, Sarah lingered in the chapel, feeling the weight of anticipation thick in the air. The room was still warm from their prayers, and every whispered word seemed to shimmer like the last rays of sunlight breaking through a canopy of clouds. It was a moment suspended in time, sacred and alive. Martha stayed behind too, her eyes searching Sarah's for something yet unspoken. Do you think we could truly discover what we are meant for? She asked, her voice trembling with hope. Why not? Sarah replied, a gentle smile illuminating her features. God doesn't just give us dreams. He guides us to fulfill them. Together, we can break through the barriers that hold us back. The words felt bold, yet there was a newfound strength in her heart, a spark igniting the flame of possibility. Just then, a flicker of movement caught her eye. It was David, a quiet man who rarely joined in their gatherings, now stepping out of the shadows with an earnest face. I've always felt like a spectator, he confessed, voice low yet steady. But today feels different. I need to share something. The room hushed as everyone's attention turned to him, curiosity and support evident in their expressions. David took a shaky breath and continued, I've dreamed of starting a community garden to help others to create something beautiful from the brokenness of this world. But I kept thinking it was just a foolish idea. Foolish? No, that's a gift. Sarah exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. A vision rooted in love and service. You have that dream for a reason. Excitement rippled through the group, the energy surging again like a tide of encouragement. Yes, we could come together to help you. Martha chimed in, her earlier hesitation washed away by a wave of conviction. It's more than just a garden. It could be a haven, a symbol of our unity. Yes, others nodded, enthusiasm growing. The room transformed once more into a sanctuary of purpose. They were no longer just sharing burdens, they were casting visions filled with hope and beauty. As each person began to brainstorm ideas, Sarah stepped back, allowing the collective energy to wash over her. This was what she had sensed, the blossoming of dreams, each rooted in faith and love. She could see it so clearly, the garden filled with laughter, fresh vegetables, and shared stories echoing in the air, healing efforts blooming from their own struggles. Then, amidst the shared determination, an unexpected thought struck her. What if, she paused, her heart racing, what if we each were meant to reach beyond our own gifts? What if together, we could create something that spreads far beyond us? David, face radiant, nodded fervently. Like a movement? Yes, a ripple that inspires others to find their own dreams. Sarah replied, the very air around them vibrating with an unseen force. In that moment, a rush of warmth enveloped them, a divine confirmation that they were on the right path. Their dreams, once buried beneath doubt, were now breaking free, stretching toward the light. As excitement settled into a deep sense of purpose, Sarah looked around her. The room felt like a garden bursting with life, a tangible reflection of faith transforming into action. They had crossed from fear into fervor, the dawn of a new journey shining brightly before them. But with such a charge running through the group, another question surfaced, urgent and compelling. What was the first step to take towards this miraculous venture? A round of silence followed, each heart bearing witness to the divine invitation resting upon them. The air was electric with promise, waiting for that first bold step into the unknown. In her heart, Sarah sensed it was time. Let us pray for guidance, for clarity as we embark on this adventure together. Little did they know, The real challenge was yet to come. Would they find the courage when faced with obstacles? What would the movement look like in a world often resistant to change? With heads bowed, they prayed, each heart intertwining in devotion. Hearts eager for a revelation that would lead them into the next chapter of their journey. As their prayers rose like incense toward the heavens, the room was filled with an unmistakable aura of community and warmth. Each heart thumped in rhythm, creating an echo of unity. Sarah felt a small tremor of anticipation, as if the very walls were leaning in, listening intently for what would come next. "God, guide us," she whispered, every syllable carrying a weight of hope. The silence deepened, and moments stretched like a gentle tide, allowing their thoughts to align in divine harmony. With every breath, possibility began to fill the spaces between them, a promise blooming among the expectancy and fervor. Breaking the silence, Martha spoke softly, her voice trembling yet firm. "What if we start by sharing our dreams with the community? We could invite everyone to join us, hear their ideas, and see how we can work together." "That's beautiful." Sarah's heart soared at the suggestion. Not only would it expand our vision, but it would also deepen our connections. David nodded eagerly, his earlier hesitation now dissolved. He spoke up, "If each person pours their heart into this, we'll create something magical. It won't just be a garden, it'll be a sanctuary for everyone." His passion was infectious, igniting a flame within them all. As ideas flowed like the river, Sarah could almost see it: the lush greens, the laughter of children, the comforting aroma of earth after a rain. But alongside this vision, doubt nudged at her spirit. Could they truly overcome the challenges that lay ahead? Just then, a voice stirred from the back of the room. It was Ethan, an older man who had been quietly observing. "I've seen visions like this before," he began, his voice rich with experience. "But I've also watched dreams fade when faced with opposition. The road ahead will not be easy." His words hung in the air like heavy clouds, but instead of dampening their spirits, they drew a collective breath. "Yes, there will be challenges," Sarah replied, the fire within her flickering but steady. "But isn't that where faith comes alive? Every obstacle is an opportunity for growth, right? Together, we can stand united against the storms that come our way." Ethan's eyes softened as he absorbed her words. The room stirred with agreement, heads nodding in unison like a garden swaying in the breeze. Sarah felt a wave of clarity wash over her. What if we made a commitment to each other? To support one another through thick and thin? If we hold firm to our purpose, we can face anything together. Around her, others nodded with newfound resolve. This wasn't just about planting seeds in the ground, it was about nurturing seeds of faith within their hearts. The vision of a community garden entwined with a deeper connection among them was not only dreamlike, it was divinely appointed. Martha grabbed Sarah's hand tightly, her voice quaking with excitement. "I can start reaching out to local groups. There may be grants. We could even involve children from schools." "Yes, let us also invite people to share their stories," David added. "Each story is a revelation, a glimpse of how God has moved in our lives. It will inspire and connect us." With such zeal, ideas raced around the room, every thought weaving into a beautiful tapestry of hope. But in that collective enthusiasm, Sarah caught a fleeting moment of stillness within. A subtle whisper, a divine prompt that urged her to listen closely. The lights flickered, and for a heartbeat, an indescribable calm enveloped them. All voices hushed as if nature itself was pausing, calling attention to something sacred. In that silence, Sarah sensed that they were not only dreaming of a garden. They were being invited into a deeper understanding of God's purpose in their lives. And with that understanding came a question, bright and alive in her spirit. What if this journey is more than just a garden? What if it's a path to transform our lives and the lives of those around us? The air vibrated softly with everyone's heartbeat, an echo of excitement and uncertainty swirling like autumn leaves in the wind. What would this journey reveal about them? What transformations awaited in their hearts and the world beyond the chapel walls? The moment felt electric, filled with promises yet to unfold. They were on the brink of something truly profound, but what lay ahead remained a sacred mystery, waiting to be unveiled. The silence in the room was palpable, wrapping around each person like a warm embrace. Sarah's heart raced with the weight of possibilities. She could feel God's presence, like a gentle wind moving through the corners of their gathering, whispering to them, guiding them toward something magnificent. David leaned forward, his eyes bright with inspiration. Imagine if we not only cultivated a garden, but also a space for growth in each other's lives. A safe haven where learning is shared, love is nurtured, and faith is tested. His words sparked a deep yearning in everyone present. Martha chimed in, her voice filled with excitement. We could hold workshops, teach each other skills, share talents. Gardening can reach beyond just the plants. It can teach patience, care, and resilience. Each passion-filled idea seemed to illuminate the room further, illuminating the eyes of those gathered. Sarah looked around, seeing the same glint of hope reflected in each face. Faces once clouded with doubt were now brightened with possibility. Yet, as exhilaration swept over them, Sarah still felt a lingering concern beneath her excitement. What if we don't have enough resources? She pondered aloud, her heart racing as thoughts of practical worries crowded in. What if we look at it differently? Ethan, the wise observer, spoke again. Faith is a resource that never runs dry. The moment we put our hands together in service, God multiplies our effort. Think of the loaves and fishes. All we need is a willing heart. His words hit home. They could give what they had, even if it seemed small. What mattered was the intention behind their actions. A spark ignited in Sarah's spirit, and she sensed a collective resolve forming. She glanced out the window, its glass shimmering under the warm sun. Let us start small. A gathering, perhaps? An open house event where everyone can come, see what we envision, bring their ideas, and share stories. Let us weave our lives together. Yes, a community feast, Martha exclaimed, brimming with enthusiasm. We can invite everyone, ask them to bring a dish, share their culture, and spread the word about the garden. It would be a celebration of unity. David nodded fervently. And during the gathering, we could have moments for prayer and reflection. We can ask for guidance and thanks for what we have and for what's to come. As they shared their plans, laughter filled the space. Sarah felt joy bubble up within her, the kind that sends ripples through the soul. Each idea felt like a thread weaving them closer together and deeper into God's purpose. Yet, just as hope reached its peak, a shadow flickered in Sarah's heart. What if they faced setbacks? What if their plans fell apart? In faith, we must be prepared for the unexpected, too, Sarah whispered, almost to herself, but it echoed in the shared heart of the room. Martha nodded somberly. Yes, sometimes the path ahead isn't clear. But isn't that where faith shines the brightest? A hush fell over them once again, a sacred pause. The weight of truth settled in the air. They could not predict every storm, but their labor would not be in vain. It felt like God was calling them to step into the unknown with grace. In times of doubt, remember our commitment, David reminded them softly. Together, we can pray our way through every challenge. A stillness shrouded them, a moment pregnant with unspoken revelations. Sarah closed her eyes, opening her spirit to God's guidance. She felt a warmth engulf her, as if the divine was wrapping her in comfort, assuring her that they were not alone. Suddenly, the faint sound of laughter drifted through the open window. It was children playing outside, their joy unrestrained. The echo of innocence shimmered with reminders of hope. What if this journey is not only about our garden, but also about helping others rediscover their joy? She murmured, lifting her gaze to meet the others. What if their labor blossomed into something that reached far beyond them? What transformation awaited their community and the hearts of those drawn to their light? With every option left lingering, an exhilarating question beckoned them forward. Would they be brave enough to embark on this adventure together? Something beautiful was unfolding, but what would it all lead to? The divine tapestry awaited their touch, inviting them deeper into the mystery of their purpose. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky in hues of gold and soft lilac, the excitement in the room was a palpable wave. The community gathering was set, that much was sure. Yet, as Sarah looked at her friends, She wondered how this simple event could really make a difference. What if we dream too big? She asked quietly, her voice filled with uncertainty, just as the warmth of hope enveloped her. David, grounded in faith, flashed a reassuring smile. What if dreaming big is exactly what God wants us to do? The larger the vision, the more room for His glory to shine through. His confidence ignited a flicker within Sarah. A flicker that begged to grow, transforming into a flame. They began to outline plans for the gathering. Topics for workshops flowed freely: cooking classes, storytelling sessions, and, of course, the basics of gardening. They envisioned an area for prayer where people could come whenever they needed petitions written on pieces of string hung between the branches of a leafy tree. Sarah felt the energy shift, each idea adding to the sacred atmosphere. "Imagine holding hands in prayer," Martha suggested, her eyes glistening with joy. "Sharing our dreams with God, asking our neighbors for their hopes. A collective connection. Community is powerful," Ethan exclaimed, his wise nature steeped in essence. "By praying for one another, we elevate our hearts. United in faith, we become stronger." Each idea seemed to meld together into an intricate tapestry, woven with threads of divine expectation. Sarah's heart swelled. This wasn't merely about planting seeds in the soil, but sowing seeds of connection, faith, and love deep within their community. Yet, even amidst the growing excitement, a whisper of doubt still lingered in Sarah's mind. She could sense it creeping back, that nagging worry threatening to cloud the brightness of their plans. Will anyone even show up? She breathed out hesitantly, fear creeping around her heart. "We are planting now for a harvest later," said David. "A harvest that God will orchestrate as we share His love and light." His words felt like an anchor, grounding her doubts as Martha nodded in agreement. The evening air thickened with anticipation, and Sarah could feel the pulse of the group's collective faith. They were ready to share something beautiful. She closed her eyes, inviting God to cradle her concerns. With it, a deeper understanding of their purpose welled up. Perhaps this gathering was more than just an event. It was a chance to invite God's transformation into the everyday lives of those around them. Would they step aside and let Him use them as vessels? Would they trust in His divine timing beyond their understanding? Just as the first stars peeked into the twilight sky, Sarah opened her eyes, her heart thrumming in alignment with divine possibilities. "Friends, let us take a moment to pray over our plans, our hopes, and the people we aim to touch," she suggested, her voice steady with newfound conviction. Together, they bowed their heads. As they prayed, a sense of unity enveloped them, weaving an invisible yet powerful bond. But as they sealed this moment with an amen, Sarah felt a sudden stirring, something beyond her understanding. A glimmer, a revelation just out of reach, like the faintest light awakening in the darkness. What untold stories would emerge from their gathering? What lives would be transformed? With these questions gently dancing through her mind, Sarah's heart raced with anticipation. The real journey was just beginning, and God was showing them the way. But what divine surprises lay ahead? Could they truly trust in His perfect plan? The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a brilliant tapestry of colors across the sky as the day of the community gathering finally arrived. Sarah stood before the chapel, heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Would the people come? Would they feel the warmth of connection and the power of faith? The whispers of doubt lingered, but today, she decided to let hope echo louder. As the gentle breeze rustled the leaves, Sarah noticed familiar faces filtering into the chapel. Each step drawn towards the warmth felt like a sacred promise. Children giggled, adults exchanged shy smiles, and a thrumming energy pulsated in the air, a united heartbeat of anticipation. The warmth of community enveloped her as more neighbors arrived. Each person's presence told a story. She recalled the words of her future self, the undeniable strength found in unity. Gather, share, heal, echoed in her spirit with every soul that walked through the door. Each one came carrying their dreams, their fears, and the unquenchable thirst for connection that drew them all together like moths to a flame. "Welcome. I'm so glad you all could come," Sarah declared, her voice steady as she stepped onto the altar. Today isn't just about a garden. It's about our hearts entwining as one. It's about sharing our stories, embracing our challenges, and planting seeds of faith in one another. A wave of warmth spread through the gathering, and amens rippled through the room like sacred music filling the air. Everyone was leaning in, ready to listen, ready to share. Let us start with a story, Sarah urged, inviting one neighbor after another to speak up, sharing the struggles and victories that had marked their lives. As the tales unfolded, hearts swelled, and tears of joy mingled with laughter. The profound weight of shared burdens lifted as each revelation echoed true. Martha stood and shared her heart. I've felt so alone in my pain, but today, witnessing your stories, I see we are all in this together. It gives me hope. The response was an electric chorus of agreement, a palpable understanding that in unity, they could withstand anything. With each shared story, walls crumbled, connecting them in a raw web of humanity. Joy washed over them like a gentle tide. As Sarah looked around, she saw tears of healing, smiles of encouragement, and expressions transformed by the shared love that recognized no barriers. The chapel felt alive, humming with the energy of faith and collective hope, as if a divine light was illuminating their gathering. Let us pray together, Sarah gently suggested, her voice rich with warmth. They took each other's hands, forming a circle of connection. And as they bowed their heads, the air trembled with sincerity. Lord, Sarah prayed, we come before you, hearts open and eager. Guide us as we take these first steps into our dream together. Help us support one another in every trial. Let us walk in your faithfulness. A quiet stillness enveloped the group, time suspended as if the universe was listening intently to their prayers. They could feel a heavenly embrace, a reminder that they were never alone. As they opened their eyes and took in the beauty of each other's faces, Sarah felt a flicker of revelation dawn within her spirit. This gathering, this connection, was just the beginning. The seeds of hope they planted today would grow far beyond the chapel's stone walls. Why don't we take our dreams to the hearts of those who couldn't be here today? One excited voice chimed in. Let us go into the community and invite everyone to share. Let us become a beacon of light. Yes, echoed another voice, filled with enthusiasm. Let us spread out, sharing our stories, and invite others to be a part of this movement. The room erupted in joy. An idea, ignited by divine energy, took flight. Together, they could cultivate not just a garden, but a sanctuary for everyone yearning for connection. As they began to brainstorm ideas, a sense of purpose surged through each one present. Let us start a community mission, reaching those who feel alone, Sarah proposed and watched as the excitement thrummed in every heart like a divine drumbeat. Let us create workshops not only for gardening, but teaching courage, listening deeply, and embracing each other. The chapel air thickened with the energy of their dreams taking shape. Sarah felt as if she could see it all: families gathering, children playing amidst vibrant flowers, stories shared over simple meals, laughter spilling like sunshine into the horizon. Suddenly, a quiet voice broke through. It was David, the often reserved member of the group. I've never felt so brave as I do right now. I want to step into this. I want to not just share dreams, but help build this sanctuary. He glanced around, and admiration shone in others' eyes. We can do this together. Yes, cheered Martha, her enthusiasm infectious. Every voice matters. Together we will create healing spaces. Let us be the bridge for others to walk across. Tears streamed down Sarah's face, but they were tears of joy, and indescribable peace washed over her. The enthusiasm, the commitment, the love, this was it. The full embrace of the miraculous truths she had learned was enveloping her completely. With a heart bursting with gratitude, Sarah addressed the group. This is our moment. We will not be afraid to step into the unknown. Together, we can harness this faithful purpose as we step out. Let us allow God to unleash His plans among us. As the first rays of dawn broke through the windows of the chapel, a new beginning was emerging. They would plant the seeds of faith, and in the seasons to come, witness a remarkable harvest together. This was just the start: divine beginnings blossoming from everyday acts of faith, each person a unique flower in God's grand garden of grace. And as they embraced and shared their excitement, Sarah felt it in her bones. The world outside awaited their light. They had ignited a movement that would resonate far beyond what they could imagine. Together, they would go out and shine, spreading stories of healing, connection, and radical love. Sarah knew any struggle ahead would only strengthen their unwavering hearts. This was their journey, an unstoppable, radiant movement of faith that would overflow into lives beyond measure. So she felt led to ask, "Will you walk this path with me?" "Yes," they all declared, hearts aligned in purpose. And intertwined in their shared legacy, like roots of a majestic oak tree, they left the chapel that evening with the assurance of divine possibilities shining bright, forever transformed by faith. Forever together in God's infinite love. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and testimonies about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.